Hey everybody, it's James, and this is James's N-Scale Train Layout Project, the Performance Track Edition. Thank you for joining me tonight. And with this episode, we are back with the track. I know that I've spent the last few episodes talking about building that 8x3 baseboard. Because of the plan that I've developed for this layout, I had to work on that baseboard first. But don't worry, I've been thinking a lot about the track. In fact, this third time is a charm because I've got an all new updated layout, a lot of the same features, but some brand new ones that I think really bring this one over the top. I'm super excited to show it to you. I won't spend much more time chatting with you. I just wanted to let you know I really appreciate all the support and all the feedback that I've gotten with regard to this project. I'm incorporating some of it, I'm learning a whole lot, and I really appreciate you guys just being interested enough to check it out with me. So without further ado, let's look at the track plan. I'll do some details on why I think it's so awesome, and stick around till the end because I'll show it to you on the baseboard itself. So here we go, let's take a look at where we are with this 8x3 N-scale track layout.
Okay, everybody, I'm going to start with just a brief evolution of my track planning, beginning with this design number 1. I launched this about a month or so ago, and I like this plan, but I really felt like it needed to be more special. I also wanted to add a second reverse loop, so I developed this version, which added the second reverse loop, and it also increased sort of what's going on in this middle yard here. And I got a lot of feedback from more experienced modelers than myself saying that that was going to be challenging to enjoy because the legs of the triple Z switchback action here are so short, and it took me actually putting this down on the baseboard for me to realize that, yeah, it's right, it's going to be challenging. So I went ahead and changed the design yet again to this design, and this is the one that I'm going to be talking about today. And in order to do that, I'm going to go to the SCARM version of the layout so that I can use the layers function. I love SCARM, and I wouldn't be able to build my train layouts without it, so I really highly recommend it. You can go over to scarm.info and download your own free review copy, and then to purchase it, it's about $40, but there's always sales. So definitely highly recommend it. Let me go ahead and show you a little bit about how I'm going to play with this track so that you can see some of the features that I'm going to be building in it. So we start here. I'm going to grab my little red ball. We start here with the programming track, and you can see that there is an F62 here, but it's not a feeder. The leads from this F62 go into the program track leads of the controller. The programming track is separated from the main track with an insulator right here to keep them separate. I'm going to build my trains on this loading track, and I'm going to launch them into the main line with this turnout here. And if we go on the outer two mainline loops, they're super elevated curves. And then you see up here, one of the big additions is 3 additional crossovers. And each of these 4 outer loops can be completely independently run. I can run 4 trains all day long on these 4 loops, and then when I decide that I want to change the direction, I can go to reverse loop number 1, and if I follow that path, it's going to eventually spit me right back out onto the main line in a counterclockwise direction. And then I can continue in this direction, and I can choose to either go to the yard down here and park my trains in any one of these 4 spots, or I can go to reverse loop number 2 and follow the path there. And eventually, will spit me right back out in a clockwise direction. So that's how I'm going to play with the track. Let me go ahead and show you some details on the reverse loop. And let me bring it a little closer. Okay, so you see we've got the two reverse loops, 1 and 2. You see one's on the bottom and two's on the top. Each of the loops is separate from the main track with these insulators. So this loop is separate and this loop is separate. Okay, how do I feed power into the loop? Well, I use these feeders that are modified. They are still F62s, but they are not. They are plugged into the reverse switches. So for reverse switch number 1, you plug that into the switch, this F62 and this F62. Then for reverse switch number 2, you plug this F62 into the reverse switch and this one right here. Okay, so it's not complicated. You just have to, concentrate, and you need to have a good track plan that has this information on it. Let's go ahead and talk about the feeders a little bit. So I've got 41 different feeders across the layout, and let me go ahead and add the unijoiners. There are 4 unijoiners, so altogether there's 45 ways to power the track. And that's how I'm going to do it. And while I've got this slide up, I'm going to show you these F62s need to be oriented in the correct way. So you can see all the ones on the bottom are facing down and all the ones on the top are facing up. And let me go ahead and add the turnouts just so you can see how the turnouts are powered by the F62s. They don't have to be right next to them. They're just close enough to be able to power them all. And how am I going to power them? I'm going to power them this way. Let me go ahead and show you this slide. So I'm going to be using the Kato 3-way connectors. I've got 22 of them. You put them together in a configuration like this and gives you 15 leads out of each of these little batches equaling 45, which is what I need. While I'm here, I'm going to show you the accessories. So here are the top turnouts and crossovers. Here are the bottom. I've got 2 accessory power packs already, so I'm just going to divide the load between the 2. I understand that you could use 1 and probably have no problem, but since I have 2, I'm just going to use that. And let's go ahead and look at the parts list. So here's the parts list, 207 pieces of track, and then we also add the connectors, switches, the accessory power, the insulated unijoiners, the terminal unijoiners, 2 reversing switches, and I have a couple of different ones to try, and then a controller. And then lastly, just let's go ahead and build this up again. Oh, one thing I wanted to also mention is I use a lot of re-railers. Not only does it keep the trains on the track, but it's also great for being able to keep the spacing. One more thing is just these wire drop holes. I made some wire drop holes so that I can just really plan that out too and make it as easy as possible. So that's the track, and let's go ahead and see what it looks like in real life.
And here it is. The track all laid out on my 3x8 N-scale train layout. It's looking pretty good. It hasn't been hooked up to power yet. I'm just letting the track kind of get used to itself. I really love working on this 3/16 inch closed cell foam padding that I put down. I decided after working on my last layout that the worst part for me was putting the underbed under the track, and so I have taken that step out, and I just love working on this flat, smooth, easy to clean surface. I also installed some lights, And what I did is I just took two 16-foot LED light strips, and you can see how I installed them underneath. Right now it's just white, but of course I can make it any color I want. So that's it. Next step, putting it all together and testing it and seeing how it works.